Not only does Jonathan know how to fly as a hawk, he knows how to fly a seaplane. In fact, he probably owns it.
That cove has the tide pools where I can find sea nettles.
I can't believe this place is only 1 hour from New York.
Hey, Brooke, while JC's doing his experiments, how about you and me going skinny dipping?
Looks like Bog finally had the big talk with Jeffrey.
Corky has been sailing the high seas with his grandfather for so long that he's forgotten he's only 12 years of age.
He says it like 12 is young. Why, when I was 9, I was living with harem girls in Senegal.
There are no harem girls in Senegal. But after I left...
That's Corky, by the way. I'm not sure where he came from or how Jonathan knows him, but while Jonathan is looking for sea nettles, better known as jellyfish, and what the heck does he want with those, Corky can't stop staring at Brooke. The object of his adoration has found something wrong and is calling for Jonathan.
Poor thing.
All right, young lady. I'll have you out of here in a moment. You just relax. Good. That's it, relax. That almost does it. Just one more. There you are. Now, don't go near the fishing boats.
She waddles back into the water, stops to croak her thanks, and takes off. Brooke has noticed something in the sand.
Skeleton's hand. I'll bet the rest of us under here.
I was about to make a comment about how girly Brooke has become, but she was just startled. She finds the skull with a little something extra.
What's that?
Male skull with a boomerang embedded in it.
A boomerang?
Yeah, still in its victim.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, it's with steel blades.
I'll bet he was murdered for this.
Whoever he was, he died clutching that Scrimshaw. And whoever threw that boomerang didn't get the Scrimshaw away from him. It's very important to somebody. If anyone can decipher the images carved on it, Corky's grandfather, Sea Dog Clancy, can.
The winds were screaming like angry sea hags. The seas were folding over us in 1,000 creases. The men, brave men who knew no fear, were on their knees praying not to die. So I lashed myself to the wheel.
I'm not sure which one to talk about first, Sea Dog or Keenan Wynn. I'll start with the character. Old Sea Dog there has been on a ship for most of his life, only recently retired and took a job as a lighthouse keeper. He's an independent researcher in his own right, and his specialty is old shipwrecks, and stories like that one.
And I brought her about into the teeth of the gale. The mizzenmast went, and the lines were flailing around like cat o' nines. In 17 hours I held her like that. And the groans of the rain and the wind did not diminish one bit. When we sailed out of Gloucester, we looked like this. And when we sailed into Savannah, well, we didn't look quite that bad.
He's been trying to teach Ty how to make a ship in a bottle. Ty's ready just to cut the bottle in half, take the little ship, and go doink. Keenan Wynn grew up in show business. His father was comedic actor Ed Wynn, whom you probably know as Uncle Albert and Mary Poppins, among other things. Keenan didn't follow in his dad's footsteps. His grandfather was a Shakespearean stage actor, and Keenan felt the pull of drama rather than comedy. He had a hard time breaking into movies and an even harder time breaking into television, but determination and awesome talent got him there. Even people who have never heard his name will see him on screen and say, "Oh yeah, that guy, I've seen him all over the place." Like so many of these delightful people, we lost him to cancer. He was only 70. But it would take years to cover the entertainment legacy he left us. All I can say is, thank you.
Guess what we found in a cave? A skeleton with a boomerang in its skull. And it had that in its hand.
Corky, you're spinning tales just like your old grandpa.
He's telling the truth.
Yeah, we took the skeleton to the forensic lab. And Jonathan told Lieutenant Rivera that you might be able to help us with this.
What is it with television adults not believing kids when they tell them something? We see it all the time on Lost in Space. I don't need it here, too. Sea Dog is acting really weird about this Scrimshaw.
Well, I just have to study this a little closer. I'll take it upstairs and see if I can unriddle the tale that it holds.
And the implication in the way he said that is, none of you were invited.
Got to be. Yes. This is the secret to the treasure of Topaz Island.
And assuming you decipher it and find that treasure, you don't intend to share it with your grandson? Is that why you're being so secretive? While he's doing that, Corky knows of a bar where sailors hang out called the Blue Fin. They might be able to find out something about the Scrimshaw's history there. For reasons I can't quite fathom, Jonathan dresses like a sailor and starts trying to pretend while he asks his questions. He's about as effective at it as Basil the Great was.
It's a lot of money just for a drink. What do you need?
Buyer for something I'm selling.
Yeah? What?
Scrimshaw.
Waste of time.
Hey, this ain't no ordinary piece of Scrimshaw, I tell you. I found it clutched in a skeleton's hand, aye. It was carved on a walrus tusk. I mean, a man died for it.
While he's doing that, Brooke is trying to find out about the boomerang.
Why does a lady like you want to know about a steel-bladed boomerang?
Can I trust you?
More than I can trust you. So why don't you say what you gotta say, and then we'll find out.
I want to hire the man entrusted. And I'm prepared to pay him very, very well.
Ty and Corky are in a corner watching, and no, I don't know why they let Corky be there.
What's going on over there?
Sailor's poker.
Poker, huh? Yeah? Any chance of me getting in the game?
Todd, you've never played sailor's poker before.
Cards is my middle name, man.
Too bad Sailor's Poker doesn't involve cards.
It's gonna be kind of hard to shuffle like that.
Oh, you're not going to want to be shuffling anything, Ty.
Go.
3.8 seconds.
Ty says, I concede, you win. Except that's not allowed.
Play your hand or Manchu pokes for doubling.
I'll pay.
Between your fingers.
And if you go over 6 seconds, you get the same penalty. Ty slides just under the wire at 5.8. While Ty is celebrating the fact that he still has all his fingers, Jonathan's talk has gotten someone's attention.
Get some fresh air. Huh? You want another drink?
Sea Dog Morgan can figure out what that Scrimshaw means.
Those bones might have belonged to a shipmate of mine. I'd be good to find out who he was.
Lots of someones. While Jonathan and the woman go outside, our poker winner is making a call.
Who? Where? Sea Dog Morgan, huh? No. You get rid of the competition. Make sure we never hear from Mrs. Avery again.
That's Mr. Cyrus Gipps. We'll learn that he's been searching for this treasure most of his life. It's his obsession, pretty much the only thing he lives for. How sad is that?
My father carved that tusk and gave it to me when I was a little girl. It was stolen 6 months ago. I've offered a $10,000 reward.
That's a great deal of cash to shell out for a piece of Scrimshaw, miss.
Avery. Lydia Avery.
Oh, Avery.
It's not worth that much to anyone else, but it's of great sentimental value to me.
She can describe it perfectly, but won't tell him anything else about it, like what the symbols mean. Before Jonathan can press her much more, other things start happening. Jonathan's going to lose that one. Inside, Corky is in heaven.
The winds were screaming like an angry hag. The sea was folding around us 1,000 creases. Brave men who had never known fear were down on their knees, praying not to die.
Every beautiful woman in the place is hanging on his every word. Well, every woman except one. She hops in her car, puts the bubble light on top, and starts after them. Now, I'm going to repeat something I said in an earlier episode. If she's got that bubble light, she should also have a radio. Why doesn't she call it in and get some help running these guys down? There's a visible police band antenna right there on her trunk lid, so she does have a radio. Or at least an antenna to hook one to. If nothing else, yell into the antenna wire. You never know. The next part is kind of predictable, and as usual, Jonathan's transition is slow enough to kill the pace of the whole sequence. Jonathan is human again, and those two are in custody. So is Mrs. Lydia Avery.
You're sexy, Miss Avery.
She's hardly my sexy Miss Anything.
Well, she has a criminal record longer than the cutthroats who tried to kill her. You should be more discriminating in your choice of women.
It gets better. They identified Boomerang Head Guy as her husband Roger. He was a mercenary and sometime fortune hunter.
What am I being held for? I was kidnapped.
You're being held on a suspicion of a conspiracy to commit murder.
Murder? Who? I didn't kill Roger. But I can tell you who did. That Scrimshaw's worth millions.
That has what to do with who killed your husband? Never mind, it's time to fulfill our leading man's contract.
Shh. He's not even a cop. He shouldn't be interrogating her.
You're right. That should be me in there.
Obviously, Jonathan's not interested. He's still got his eye on that female hawk back at the zoo.
All I know is that it was carved by a gang of convicts while they'd been shipwrecked, but nobody knew where. One of them gave it to a priest before they were all hanged. Then the priest was murdered. The tusk disappeared for a long time, until it showed up in Afghanistan, where my husband and I stumbled onto it.
She says, "We found it. It rightfully belongs to us."
The only one that tusk rightfully belongs to is the walrus. Now, who killed your husband? Now, if you don't want the finger of guilt permanently pointing in your direction, you'd better tell me who threw that boomerang.
This is an Australian named Madrick. He works for a guy that's been after the tusk for 30 years. I don't know his name.
She says, "My husband died for that treasure. I deserve at least part of it." How does that entitle you to something you just stumbled upon? What claim can you make beyond you bought it from a guy who bought it from a guy who bought it from a guy, etc., and so on?
You know, I can look into the eyes of a tigress, know exactly when it's safe to turn my back on her. I'm afraid I wouldn't feel at all safe turning my back on you.
You'd be right.
Sick transit Lydia Avery. She's gone from the story. Jonathan got his kiss, so she can go now. It's time to get Sea Dog in here. He obviously knows more than he's telling, so Ty and Corky will go collect him from Jonathan's house.
Well, just a fellow. Well,
I hear you've got something I have been looking for.
Well, somebody will collect him from Jonathan's house. Ty and Corky will find this. They have Clancy. Did they get the Scrimshaw? Now, I think most of us know the answer. If they had the Scrimshaw, they wouldn't need Clancy. So it's still here somewhere. How is it that I'm just a music guy with a couple of Bible degrees and an attitude, and I'm a better detective than Brooke is?
Hello?
You have a piece of Scrimshaw that is rightfully mine. So if you want to see your friend Sea Dog alive again, bring it to 1181 East Pier Avenue in 1 hour.
You have to love how everybody says it's rightfully theirs. By right of what? Lydia says by right of her husband was murdered for it. I don't see the connection. Gibbs will say again and again that not only the Scrimshaw, but the treasure is rightfully his by right of the fact that he's been searching for it his whole life. Again, I don't see the connection. But greed makes people stupid.
You come alone, or this time it is his bones you will find.
Dun, dun, dun. After they find where Sea Dog hid it, Jonathan cuts the Scrimshaw in half. The plan is to give Gibbs half of it as a good faith gesture. He gets the other half when Clancy is safely away. Corky doesn't like the plan. He's afraid they'll kill his grandfather if Jonathan doesn't give him the whole tusk.
Brooke, Ty! The fawn, there's something wrong with him.
Mister, no, he looks okay.
No, look, he looks sick. His nose, it's all dry.
He keeps urging closer inspection. Maybe he's hungry.
Corky, open this up! Corky? I'm sorry. Gotta save Sea Dog.
There is a button on the inside too, right?
How do we get out of this place?
We don't. Stacy made it escape-proof.
Even for humans who accidentally get trapped. JC didn't think this one through. Speaking of JC, he's meeting with Gibbs.
Let me have it.
After he's safely out of here.
I have searched for it for over half my life. I have killed. And I will kill both of you now if you don't hand it to me.
Yeah. I'm sure you're a man of your word.
Gibbs is appalled that he cut it in half. Madgwick is ready to kill everybody. Sea Dog can't stop laughing.
Shut up!
You'll have the other half when Clancy's safely out of here.
Sir, have it brought over to me now. Or it will be very interesting to see if he will still be laughing when his head is rolling across the floor.
No! Don't hurt him, please! I'll give you the other half!
Corky doesn't understand the concept of leverage. Gibbs now has all of it.
First thing in the morning, we'll all be going for a little plane ride.
He has a special seat reserved for Jonathan. It's all predictable. Madgwick cuts the ropes, stomps on Jonathan's hands until he lets go. Jonathan transforms into a hawk and he's okay. Gibbs says, "Decipher those symbols for me or the boy is next." And he can't change into a hawk. Okay, Gibbs didn't say that last part, I did. Rather than follow them, Jonathan heads home. He's going to need help. Plus, if Corky was at the exchange, Ty and Brooke probably need help.
Jonathan!
You all right?
Yeah. Corky locked us in.
Yeah, I know.
Where is he? Oh, where's Clancy?
They're flying off somewhere. We've got to find out where. Got the drawings of the etchings?
Yeah, they're over here.
Could I have them, please?
Uh-huh. Here you go.
Thanks.
Pro tip, Jonathan. You can put a button on the inside up high where the fawn can't reach it. Do that and things like this won't happen as often. By sifting through Clancy's books and notes, they come up with the meaning of the first symbol.
Now, each of these dots represents a ship that went down.
There's hundreds of them.
Yeah, and these merely the known wrecks.
Yeah, but how could so many ships sink off that small island?
Well, not so, you see. The visible island, 300 miles off the coast of Maine, is the above-water portion of an immense body of sand. Now, the ships must have been swept onto it by the currents, held there while the waves broke open their hulls. They would then have been filled with sand and literally swallowed whole by the island with the treasures aboard.
Jonathan reasons that the convicts who carved the tusk moved the treasure they found to a solid part of the island and made the Scrimshaw as a map to it. I hope I don't need to point out that there is no Topaz Island off the coast of Maine. In fact, there's no Topaz Island anywhere. But that's where we're going.
You stole my thunder!
That's what happens when you just leave it lying around.
Watch where you step. The island is loaded with sinkholes. From the look of that, I'd say one stood over 200 feet tall.
That's unbelievable. A 200-foot lighthouse sinking?
Hey, we used to sing that in Sunday school. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. Maybe that's why there's no Topaz Island off the coast of Maine. It sank. Jonathan's Manimal ears are picking up a distinctive sound.
Horses. No. Ponies.
There were 3 ponies on that Scrimshaw.
So what does it mean? I don't know, but let's find them. Hopefully they'll have the answer.
But since Jonathan mentioned sinkholes, one of us has to fall into one.
Hold your arms out straight. straight. Take my hand.
Help! Oh!
And of course, it has to be Brooke. It has to be the damsel in distress. Who ever heard of a shining knight rescuing a dude in distress? They can't reach her. This calls for drastic measures.
Oh, Jonathan, why couldn't you become something else?
I suppose he could have turned into a walking stick, but that's a bug. She also hates bugs. Plus, I doubt it would be long enough.
Come on, take my hand.
Now you use him to lasso a couple of those ponies and you can ride the rest of the way. Especially since a sandstorm just came up. A sandstorm that's giving Jonathan the final piece to solve the puzzle.
In a sandstorm, the island shifts. The ponies instinctively move to a solid spot, which is obviously where the treasure is, so we follow the ponies.
But we can't even see them!
Don't worry, I can hear them. Come on.
Once they reached Equestria, Jonathan was able to fit right in. The others not so much. Gips and company have also been following the ponies in dune buggies. If those are wild ponies, then so was Mr. Ed. Golden cups, crowns, what have you, are just sticking out of the sand.
After all these years. Ladwick, get the kid out. Bring the shovels. No, forget the shovel.
Never mind the shovels, get the wheelbarrow. Except he doesn't have one. What sort of provision has he made for carrying this stuff out?
The balloons! Look!
I never thought I'd say this, but forget the doubloons. Let's run!
But...
Come on, let's run!
Ladwick!
Should have been a little more sneaky about it. Madgewick throws his lethal boomerang.
Police! Freeze!
Ew.
JC, we're thrown out of an airplane.
How did you survive it?
Nancy, it's a taller tale than you've ever told.
It's time for a dune buggy chase. It's not bad. It helps that Jonathan Chase has total expertise in operating every vehicle ever created by human hands. So much for that, I guess. The sand is reclaiming his precious treasure. You cannot be serious. Put it back in the box, dimwit! We all know what's going to happen. There's only one open question.
Take my hand. Take it. No, don't let that stuff go. Take it.
Oh, I searched for this too long.
And that answers that question. Will he let Jonathan save him? No. The treasure will go to museums, universities, and other places that research and preserve maritime history. But Sea Dog did keep one piece for himself.
You mean with all that gold and silver, you swiped an old rusty compass?
Well, that means more than the whole treasure put together. This is the marrow around which the bones of a story grow to be legend.
He's not wrong. As a scuba diver, I've had to trust my compass many times when I wasn't quite sure which way was home.
I was sailing through the Straits of Gibraltar in a fog, thick as rats on a death ship. No stars above, nothing to guide me but a rusty compass. Just then I spied a skull and crossbones whipping in the wind off the starboard bow.
And I had to share that with you because it's pretty good. But we do have one more issue to resolve.
So, you gonna come up and visit?
Oh.
While Sea Dog's running the lighthouse, we go for a nice moonlit stroll along the beach.
Are you sure that you're only 12 years old?
Like Sea Dog always says, you're as old as you think you are.
Then in that case, I'm too young for you.
I think she's starting to waver. A little more of the Mino Peluche charm, and who knows? Ty's ready just to cut the ship in half, take the little ship and cut the bottle. Good grief, slow down. By sifting through Clancy's books and notes, they come up with the meaning, good grief. They come up with the meaning